everybody. Hope you're all doing really well. I'm going to start reading a version of Alice in Wonderland, which Oak Class will already know. I'm going to start from the beginning so that everybody can keep up. I'll be reading a new bit every day. So, this version is by Emma Chichester Clark, but it is based on the original by Lewis Carroll. Alice was sitting with her sister on the riverbank. She'd never felt so bored. There was nothing to do. She'd half thought of making a daisy chain, but couldn't be bothered to get up and pick the daisies. Her sister's book looked duller than dull. What's the use of a book, thought Alice, without pictures or conversation? But at that moment, a white rabbit with pink eyes and a jacket to match rushed by. Oh dear, I'll be late, he said as he looked at his pocket watch. Alice leapt up and ran after him, just as he disappeared down a rabbit hole. Suddenly she was falling and falling. Down, down, down. She fell quite slowly, looking at shelves all around her as she went. She seemed to be falling forever and was just wondering if she was anywhere near the centre of the earth when she landed, thump, on a pile of dry leaves. The white rabbit rushed ahead down a long, dark passage. Oh, my ears and whiskers, he muttered. How late it's getting. Alice raced after him, but he completely vanished, and she found herself alone in a long hall with doors on either side. Every door was locked. How was she to get out? Eventually, Alice noticed a glass table with a little golden key lying on it. I don't know if you can see the key there. Look how small she is. Surely it must fit one of the doors. But she's tried them all twice and it didn't. On the second time round, she found a low curtain hiding a tiny door. The key turned and Alice peered through to the loveliest garden. Oh, I wish I could close up like a telescope, she sighed. She wandered back to the glass table. It had a bottle standing on it. That certainly wasn't there before, said Alice. The label said, "Drink me." It didn't say poison or anything like that, so she had a sip. It was like cherry pie mixed with pineapple, roast turkey, toffee and hot buttered toast. In fact, very nice. She drank it all. Minutes later, Alice had shrunk to about 25 centimetres high. That's less than a ruler. What a curious feeling, she gasped. She'd become the perfect size for the little door, but she'd forgotten the key. It was so far out of reach there was no way she could get it. Though she tried and tried. Alice burst into tears. There she is, look, trying to climb up the table. There's no use crying like that, she said crossly, wiping her eyes. As she did so, she saw a small glass box under the table with a tiny cake inside. On it were the words, "Eat me," written in currants. Alice began. Curiouser and curiouser. Goodbye, feet, cried Alice. She was growing, taller and taller. When her head hit the ceiling, she knew it was hopeless to even think of the lovely garden, and that made her cry again. She felt so desperate that when the white rabbit appeared, she hoped he'd help, but he shrieked with horror, dropping his fan and gloves, and ran away. Poor Alice. Everything was so peculiar that she wasn't even sure who she was anymore. Everything was scrambled and upside down. Suddenly she realised she'd put on one of the little gloves. How could I have done that? She wondered. I must be growing small again. And she ran to the garden door. But it was locked, the key on the table, as before. Things are worse than ever, cried Alice. But then, worse than that, she slipped and was immediately up to her chin in water, swimming in a pool of her own tears. Several other creatures were splashing about too. Among them were a mouse, a duck, a dodo, an eaglet, and a lorry. It was quite crowded. I wish I hadn't cried so much, sniffed Alice. There they all are, look, swimming around in Alice's tears. So, come back tomorrow to find out what happens with those animals and Alice next. See you tomorrow.